What is going on, guys? Chris here from Signs of Life, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to do a classic ambient style track in the classic Signs of Life tutorial style, where I just start building a track, you guys are following along, and hopefully this will set a good foundation for you all, because I got a comment on my Patreon the other day, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said something along the lines of, you know, even though I'm beyond the beginner level, I always go back to your beginner tutorials because I feel like they give me a good foundation. It's always important to brush up on the basics. And I can't agree more with that statement, you know, because even though I'm way beyond beginner level, I always go back to the foundations just so you guys can get a good handle and become better ambient music producers. Anyway, so I've got a track that I've started here, and I want to show you guys the track, and then we're going to recreate this track step by step. So check this out. I've already gone over to arrangement view and the whole thing. We're starting off here with a nice bass. This is going to be our Pigments bass here. Just a very foundational style bass, nothing crazy here. You know, long attack, long release, sawtooth, you know, a little bit of motion here, some unison, that kind of thing, all right? So that's putting the low foundation down. Now our pad here is coming from current, all right? Now some of you may have current, some of you may not. However, you could probably follow along using Pigments or Vital or Serum or something. You can see here though, I've got, you know, 3 really slow LFOs that are doing modulation work here. That's moving various, you know, wave folding and spectral distortion here. Really nice stuff, and the filter as well. So that's the pad. It's kind of giving us that ethereal vibe. And then I've got a lead here that's just doing its thing, and this is coming from Vital. And I use Vital because it really does cut through the mix, much like Serum. You know, it's a very good synthesizer for those types of sounds. All right. Very simple though, nothing crazy here. Just a simple envelope, an A, D envelope, just you know, moving the filter with the notes, some slow randoms here. We're going to talk about that. And then probably my favorite sound of this whole thing is this distant chime, which is just a single sine wave, right? A single sine wave. However, I'm using the corroder here with a really slow random on the frequency. I absolutely love the corroder. It sounds so good. And that's providing those really distant chimes here. Okay, I'll go ahead and restart this. You can hear it. This is what the corroder is doing. Listen to this. Oh yeah. That's just a sine wave with the corroder on it. I just love it, right? And then finally, to wrap things up here, I have a instance of Omnosphere 3. And yeah, that's putting in some extra duty on the lead high end. Really nice lead sound here. We're gonna try to recreate this. If you have Omnosphere, great. If not, don't worry. It's okay. It's just a synthesizer, right? No harm, no foul. Anyway, so that's the game plan. I'm really excited about this video. So thank you guys so much for being here. And yeah, make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you're not already. And let's dive in. This video is brought to you by the Signs of Life Patreon. Discover tutorials for all skill levels, as well as full track walkthroughs and track breakdowns, over 100 preset and sample packs, and the Signs Circle Group for track feedback and support, and I also offer personalized one-on-one ambient coaching. Well, what are you waiting for? Sign up today and join us. The link is down below in the description. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, first things first, I'm using Ableton Live here, but feel free to follow along in any other DAW of your choice. And if you don't have any of the gear that I'm using, as a reminder too, there are always free alternatives. I'm playing in 56 beats per minute, and I'll be playing in G sharp major. Okay, so first things first, let's work on that bass in pigments, all right? Now, if you're a beginner and you're trying to follow along, that's totally cool. However, I am gonna go moderately quickly because I feel like, tutorials like this can be condensed down so you can maybe watch it again if you need to, or watch it in slow motion. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come over to the amp envelope here, and I will, change it to around 6 seconds. Add the decay to around 6 seconds over here, lower the sustain down and add some release, okay? And that's gonna give me a nice long bass. So we're gonna do kind of like an Obsidian Soundfield style bass here again, all right? And we'll change the play mode here from poly 8 to poly 2, okay? So we have 2 voices on our synthesizer. And the next thing I'll do is I'll come over to the wave table here. This is the basic wave table, and I'll change it from sine wave to sawtooth. Okay, and I'll lower the cutoff down to around 150 Hertz. And that's gonna give me a nice low bass. Now what I might wanna do is lower down the tuning another octave, so 12 semitones, and I'll play a nice low G note here. Let's hear what this sounds like. Nice low G, you can barely hear it, but it's swelling in, okay? And that's exactly where I want it, and then we're gonna play another F note after that. Perfect. And that's exactly what I want, just something very simple, right? Nothing crazy here, okay? To get a little more emphasis in the tone, what I'll do is I'll come over here to the effects tab and I'll add a multi-band compressor, and maybe I'll take the mids out of it and the highs, and I'll add some output, all right? So just give it a little extra gain boost on the end, okay? And I'll come back over to the synth tab, and maybe we'll increase the volume here a little bit, add some resonance. And the last move that I'll make on this bass, this is something I did not do in the demo track, was just make a little LFO here, like a really slow LFO on the filter, okay? So I'll take an LFO, I put it in unipolar here by clicking on the polarity button, and I'll just drag LFO1 over to the cutoff here, okay? So now I've got a nice slow LFO on my cutoff as well, all right? So let's go ahead and make a MIDI clip. I'm gonna double click this slot in session view. Again, your DAW may differ here. And I'm going to make an 8-bar MIDI clip, and I'll change the fixed grid to 2 bars, all right? So the first note I played was this G sharp number 1, okay? And I'll put it in scale mode, easier to see that way. All right, there we go. And I'll play an F after that. They're calling it E sharp number 1, a C sharp, okay? And a D sharp. There we go, perfect. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and put this through the bass bus, and I will play this, and we'll hear what this sounds like. It's gonna be a nice, low, deep bass. Nothing crazy here, okay? So when each note kind of reaches its end, it's gonna fade out and crossfade into the next note, like that, okay? Again, very simple, very simple. But normally we think about basses with like really fast attacks, but this one is much more of a kind of steady, long style bass, all right? Cool. So that's good for me with the bass, all right? I'll leave that cooking while we work on our pad here, okay? So let's go ahead and rename this. This is our bass sound. And I will go ahead and grab another synthesizer. Let's grab Current here. If you have Current, great. If you don't, no worries. You can always follow along in Serum or Pigments or something. So let's change our initial wavetable to something else, like, I don't know, soft clip triangle. Like, it really doesn't matter, because what we're gonna do is use the warp modes here. There are some really great warp modes here, like Ripple. That's a fantastic one with this like, wave warp here. I mean, there's so much you can do. And maybe I've just, become accustomed to like using Serum and stuff like that, and I haven't spent enough time in Current, but I'm having so much fun these days in the synthesizer. It's just such a well-built synth. So what I'll do here, before I even get started, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, is I'm going to add around 3.5 seconds of attack here in the amp envelope, all right? And I'll add some decay here around the same, lower the sustain down and up the release, okay? If you can't see what you're doing here, just decrease the time value, or increase it really. And you can adjust our curves here, very nice. Okay, I've added 5 voices of unison, and I've adjusted the detune. I'll lower the stereo width down to around 50%, like this. And I'll just play a nice major chord here. Let's go ahead and play this. All right, let's go ahead and play our bass again. Very nice. Nothing crazy. That's our bass. Let's go back to current. Very nice. Now, like I said in the sort of, intro to the video, I'm gonna do some really slow modulation here in current, all right? Because I feel like the slow modulation is what gets really good results, especially for ambient, right? So I'll take this LFO and I'll use it on the position here, and maybe I'll increase the amount. And then I'll make another LFO, put it in free running mode, randomize, and maybe we'll make this we'll sync it to hertz here. There we go. And now we'll use that on the warp here. And you can right click on the little yellow dial here and make it bipolar. That's cool. So now we've really got something, and then we're gonna do the same thing with another LFO, make it free running, maybe make this one 12 bars or something. I don't know, just random, like really crazy slow modulation, all right? We'll take another oscillator and just leave it on the default sawtooth, and then we'll put oscillator A and B through the filter here, okay? So again, if this was pigments, it's already defaulted to that. If it was vital, you'd have to set oscillator A and B or 1 and 2 to also filter 1. And we'll use one of those slow LFOs on the filter over here. There we go. Okay. Oh yeah, very nice. Crazy. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and grab a reverb preset. Now I'm gonna get out of the way so you guys can see this. I'm gonna grab a reverb, okay? It doesn't matter what reverb it is. I'm gonna grab my Pro R2 and I'll just dial up a preset, okay? Meaning I'm going to increase my decay to around 24, 25 seconds, add some brightness, okay? And increase the character and maybe the thickness here. Lower the pre-delay down. And I'll just go ahead and shape the decay rate. Now again, if you're using Supermassive, just up the high EQ so it's at its max, okay? And if you're using any other reverb, you can do the same. Just, adjust the highs and the lows. So as you can see here, the lows are being cut off in the decay, and then the highs are being boosted here on the end. That's all I'm gonna do, okay? I'm gonna copy this reverb, okay, for later, and I'll go ahead and play this. Let's go ahead and hear what this sounds like. That sounds nice. I like it. I like it. I like it. Yes. Very nice. Very nice. We can increase the cutoff here. Really, really good. Yes. Again, we're just starting, right? Like we're not even past, the first couple moves here. But that's good. That's good. I like that. I like that. Let's go ahead and recall that MIDI. All right. So I just played that. That's what I just played, and I'll keep it. I think it's cool. We'll crop it. There we go. And maybe we'll increase the time value here. I'm just kind of letting, life dictate how this is gonna go. There we go. That's cool. I like that. And I'll take the snap grid off. Maybe draw in some other notes here. There we go. I like it. I like it. Extend this note out. There we go. Yeah, with ambient music, I mean, you really don't need to be precise, right? But it is helpful to have a good idea of what you want it to sound like, so you're not, kind of just floundering around, right? That's why I love scale mode. There we go. And that Pro R2 is really helping out. You can hear it. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's take a span. And this is really important. I want to emphasize this. I do this in every video, but I really want to make sure you guys understand You know, when we're looking at span, right? When we're looking at a frequency analysis tool, what are we looking for? We're looking for a nice balance between the lows, the mids, and the highs, okay? And it's really important because if you don't get the balance right, then it doesn't matter what your track sounds like, it's gonna sound off, right? So to do this, you can either do this internally in the synthesizer itself, or you could do it, you know, like, I mean after the fact, but I prefer to do it like internally, meaning like I try to nip it right in the bud, right where it's happening, which is right here, okay? So maybe I'll change the wavetable here to something else. A little more scooped in the middle, you saw that? Yeah, that's nice. I like that. Increase the detune, just for fun. I like this. This is good. All right, I'll take another LFO. I wanna change number 6 to an LFO, and I'll have just a simple like 4-bar LFO here. Let's put this in free running and tie that to the filter. Yeah, there we go. So it's a little more predictable. Yeah, I like it. I like it, I like it, I like it. All right, cool, nice. Great, okay, so we rename this. This is our current pad. All right, next up, we are gonna go to our Vital lead, all right? And the reason why I chose Vital was very simple. Sometimes Vital has a great way to cut through the mix. Again, you could use Serum here, and that would absolutely be okay, right? Different, you know, I often get asked this question, like, what's the difference between different synthesizers? Like, are they all made the same? Are they all like, you know, is it just, do you sometimes get in the mood to use one or the other? No. When you really peep hard at all the different sonic characters and qualities of these synthesizers, eventually you'll come to realize that they're not all the same, and they each have their own role to play in the type of track that you want to create. For example, Serum is really great at cutting through the mix. So is Vital. You know, Vital is really good at making glitchy stuff and like really cool percussive sounds, right? But it's not so good at making really soaring long pads or soundscapes because they sound kind of muddy, you know? Whereas Serum totally excels at that, so does Hive especially. And Hive is really good at doing basses. Yuhi is like top class at like virtual analog, even though it's not a virtual analog synthesizer. You know, with Diva, of course you use that for bass as well, or a sequence. Like there's different roles that each synth plays. And the more experience you have, the more you'll get to realize this and hear it as well, especially when you're building your own track. So hopefully that kind of, you know, because I get asked the question a lot, like, why do you use pigments here? Or why do you use Omnosphere for this? Or why do you use Serum for that? Okay, experience is the best teacher. Don't quote me on that. That's from a rap song from the 90s. Anyway, all right, so let's go ahead and build that lead here. And I'm going to grab a wavetable. The wavetable that I used was one of these 40K wavetables. This was when I built these in celebration of hitting 40,000 subscribers on the channel. Ooh, 40,000, right? So we're getting somewhere. Anyway, let's go ahead and put both of these through the filter one. That's really important, all right? And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to set the attack here to around 3 seconds. I'll lower the sustain and up the release to around, you know, 3.5, 4 seconds. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a second envelope, and this is what I call the lead envelope. It's a simple AD envelope, all right? And AD is an envelope that we use in modular a lot, where it's just attack and decay, that's all it is, right? So I'll take the sustain out, okay? And so now I have a simple AD envelope here, okay? Very simple. And I'll use that on the filter. So every time I play a new note, it's gonna go through that, okay? I'll take a random here, and I'll make it very slow. Like, I don't know, not super slow, like 3.5 seconds. That's pretty slow for a random, okay? And maybe I'll use that there, and I'll use this on a squeeze to kind of mess around. We'll use another one, same thing, set it to seconds, and we'll go long, like 4.5, tie that to the squeeze. And one thing you can do is you can add voices of unison in Vital, and this is something that's unique to Vital, is you can come here to the advanced tab and use those slow randoms on this. If you hold shift, it comes in as bipolar, that's what you want. and then I'll use that on the spectral spread. So now I've got some real long, slow LFOs here that are doing duty, all right? Which is cool, and I've got my envelope that's tied to the filter, okay? This is gonna sound pretty good. I already kind of know what it's gonna sound like, all right? The last thing I might do is add a multi-band compressor here. The multi-band in Vital is okay. It doesn't have an extra gain. I wish it had some gain on it, but you know, neither here nor there. It's been 4 years since the last Vital update. Anyway, so maybe 5 years. Gosh, it's 2026. What I'll do is I will grab the reverb from earlier, okay? And if this is your supermassive, that's your supermassive. So I'll copy it and put it as an insert effect. Why? Insert effects tend to have a way of balancing out a little bit better when you're in creation mode. They don't need to be the final product. I want to make that clear. A lot of the times I'll go use an insert effect when I'm just making the track, and then I'll just like remove them in the final creation stage and either replace them with send effects and or adjust them later. They never become printed into the waveform itself. This is something I talk about on Patreon a lot. So if you're on Patreon, you've heard me say this a million times. If you're not, come join us. Link is in the description. I swear, it's such a great resource. 5 years of tutorials on there. Anyway, all right, so let's go ahead and play this. Oh yeah. Oh, that sounds great. You see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't need to be much, right? I've got the advanced tab, I've got these, you know, different unisons are kind of swirling around. The detune is not very high. I like it. But that slow modulation, that subtle movement, that's really what it's all about. I mean, honestly, when you're making ambient music, think in slow time, okay? Don't think fast time. Don't think crazy. We're at 56 beats per minute. I rarely ever, you know, compose at this speed. However, I will say 56 is just 112 divided by 2. Anyway, okay, let's do this. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna switch over to arrangement view. We're gonna go linear now, okay? I'm switching it up on you guys. Let's take this, and we're gonna take this bass here, and I'm gonna just move it out here in space. We're gonna automatically, because a lot of people go, oh, hey, Signs, you're always composing in session view. Like, you know, is that like the be all end all? No, it's not the be all end all, not at all. Not even close. A lot of times I just kind of, you know, do some stuff in session view because it's just a jamming environment, and then I'll build it here in arrangement view like this, okay? Let's fix this. I'm not really happy with this MIDI clip. Let me zoom in here. Let's move this back. There we go. Yeah, that's better. Cool. All right. Nice. Okay, let's do that lead here, and what I'll do is I'll come in here and I'll make a big MIDI clip, and I'm gonna draw this in by hand, all right? This is a good exercise. This is a good exercise because, you know, you may be familiar with this, doing it like this, okay? I'm just gonna draw it in by hand. So I'm gonna listen for it, all right? I'll listen for the notes, and I'll play it by ear, okay? Let's go here, and then we'll drag this all the way out here. And I'm just kind of going a little bit freestyle, but a little bit like, I kind of know what I want. You know what I mean? Like, let's hear what that sounds like. Yeah. Nice. And this should sit really low in the mix. It shouldn't be like in your face, because it's got more high frequency than the pad does, because I set the filter at a very specific frequency. Right? Let's look at it again. You see? It's all the way up here at, I don't know, they don't have frequency in Vital, but it's up there, okay? It's up there. I like it though. I might lower it down just a little bit. Nice. Okay. Oh, yeah. I like that. I like that. I like that. I like it. I like it. All right, cool. We're going to loop this. Yep. There we go. That's what I want. All right, cool. And I'll lower it down even more, and maybe I'll increase the mix on my reverb, so it's even more blissed out. Okay. All right. Now let's move on to that distant chime. Okay, and that distant chime is that boom, boom, boom. It's just a very steady single note. Now I made this with a sine wave. And just because it's a sine wave doesn't mean it has to be uninteresting. Sine waves are often the greatest remedy for, you know, injecting just a little bit of frequency in your track to kind of give it that sense of distance. I call this the distant chime, all right? And the corroder on pigments, next level. Let me show you. All right, so we're gonna take a simple MIDI clip here, okay? Really basic. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to offset it by 1 bar, okay? So the clip, the note that I want to use is G sharp 2. Notice that I'm playing these G sharp 2s every other bar after the bass hits, because I know that my basses are 2 notes long. And so if it's the bass starts and it goes, you know, the first bar, there's no chime, then every other note or every other, you know, gap, it's almost like a call and response, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. And what I'll do here is I'll grab pigments, because pigments is the only one with the corroder. I'll grab pigments here, and I'll leave it on sine wave, and I'll lower the sustain down, okay? So now we've got a simple, like, just sine wave with the decay. We can turn off the filter. Yeah, and we can increase our decay here. And let's make sure we get the note right, all right? Let's up it a whole octave. There we go. It's G sharp number 3. Very nice. Okay. Step 2. Let's take the same delay that we had, this Pro R2, whether it's that reverb or it's super massive for you. I don't know, but do whatever. The same one on the pad. Like that. So we got a single frequency in space. Okay? Yes, you see how that's offset now? You see? You see? Making perfect sense here on Signs of Life. All right, so let's go to the effects, and we're gonna use the corroder. It's gonna sound so good. Oh God, I love the corroder, dude. Oh my God, Chromatic 5 coming soon. All right, so let's now. Oh, I have too much fun. All right, let's use a multi-band compressor here. Yes. And we'll lower the amount of the corroder, okay? We're also gonna lower the amount of this track and put it through the bass buzz or the synth buzz. Let's move the frequency with a really slow random, okay? So I'm coming over to the random tab, and I'll change the first one to random. I'll change the retrig source to free running, okay? And I will smooth it all the way out and lower the rate down to hertz and make it really slow and increase the distance all the way. So like the speed is like almost at the hundredths place. You know what I'm saying? It's at like 0.095. And I'll use that on the frequency. Yeah. Bingo. So the FM is at 118%. Maybe it's at 100, I don't know, whatever. So sometimes you get these really dark, distant chimes, and sometimes they're like super, oh my God. And that's just next level to me. Because it's like way out there. super distant. Oh my God, I love that. I absolutely love that. Yeah. That's so cool. That's so cool. All right, let's look at our span. You see now? Now we're starting to fill up. Now we're starting to fill up. And you see that? There's that sine wave. Oh my gosh. Yeah. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Frequency separation, but at the same time, you're utilizing the entire frequency spectrum. This is important, okay? And I mean, think about it. Like, you know, it's 2026, y'all. We're still here making music by hand. Come on now. This is really good stuff. Let's lower down the resonance here on this pad. Oh yeah, it's so good. All right. Now, let's make sure we got all this named properly. This is our vital lead. This is our distant chime. Okay, next up was Omnosphere. Okay, now if you don't have Omnosphere, don't worry. Honestly, do not gas out over this. I have a video coming on gas soon. Don't worry about it. It's okay. It's not a big deal. It's just one of the best synths ever programmed. So shout out to Eric and the team. It's just really good. I'm really happy with it. But that doesn't mean you have to have it to make good music. So if you're on Patreon or you're on my YouTube membership, I have a video on gas coming out very soon. I address it in 20 minutes. Meaning the video is 20 minutes long and I talk about gas. So sign up for the YouTube membership or my Patreon. Link is down below. And if you don't have Omnosphere and you really want it, after watching me do this, I guess I'll leave the link down below too. It's just a great synth. Notice that I'm using, you know, the attack here in the shared signal pad. This is illuminated, which means that all four oscillators, A, B, C, D, are going to be tied together for as long as I have this shared signal path on. So I'll take the envelope down, adjust the cutoff to where I want it, and then turn it off to independent. Now it's all set up and every oscillator is pretty much responding the same based on what I had. You can scroll through the different wavetables. That's cool. Love that. So I'm using my mouse here to kind of find something I like. Let's use a Prophet 6 saw. We'll add some unison here. Increase the depth, increase the detune, lower down the scatter and the drift. And with Omnosphere, you gotta play it to hear the changes. So let's hear it. So let's go ahead and add oscillator B here. And I'll change this to a sample oscillator. And I'm gonna find something in all Spectrasonics, organic sustain. And I'll rely on my ratings here of my favorite category. I think I use the toothbrush, yeah. Something like that. I think it was the toothbrush. Let's go to BRM Evolve. Let's go with that one. We'll up it an octave, so we'll go +12, and then we'll use granular on it. And let's see what that sounds like. Oh yeah. Very nice. Oh my God, that sounds great. Fantastic. Okay, we're gonna go here, we're gonna lower it down. And one more sample here, We'll go all Spectrasonics. And I'll go to the Bode source. And maybe we'll use something like Bode Vibes. Bode Vibes, dude. Let's see what this sounds like. Now, if you can't hear any of the channels, what I recommend is use an imager. So I'll use the imager here, add some gain. This is on C. Notice that I put it on C, all right? That's a little Omnosphere tip for you. Each oscillator has its own effects slot, along with the common effects. And in the common effects, I'm gonna use the, let's go with Colorizer's cut through. And then I'll come over here and I'll grab that same reverb I had on the distant chime, the really saturated one. the really saturated one. I'll copy that and I'll paste that after Omnosphere. All right. Cool. I think I'm ready to rock here. Let's hear what this sounds like. Something like that. Something like that. Signs is doing the thing. Oh my God, that sounds fantastic. All right, I love it. I love it. I'm sold on it. All right, so let's go ahead and add a MIDI clip here. You can either record this in by hand or just do it, manually. I'm gonna do it manually. Let's go ahead and just change the fixed grid to off. My goal here is to hear the notes I hear in my head. I'm like, this is what I'm doing all day long when I'm in the kitchen. I'm singing stuff like this. Yeah. This is the language angels speak. I don't know about you, man. And then, Yeah. There we go. There we go. Sweet. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Nice. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Let's take another look at our span here. Yes, sir. So you see, we got a nice, well-rounded frequency spectrum now. Between Omni, between the chime, there's enough information all around. The bass probably needs to come up to balance the rest of the frequencies out. I'll do that now. Let's go ahead and grab pigments. And yeah, add a little more output. Oh yeah. See, now it's all about subtle adjustments. Once you get everything in place, it's all about the subtle adjustments that you make. And I really have to emphasize this. If you are on the fence, if you feel like, man, I really want to make this kind of music, goddamn Signs, it sounds so good. Believe me when I say that there is never a better time to go after your dreams than right now. The fire has been lit. And I say that from personal experience, and I say that because I have a real keen eye about what's going on out there in the world. And the best thing that you can do is focus on the dreams you've always had. And if this is the kind of dreams that you have, if we share the same vision, go for it. Nobody's holding you back. There's nothing stopping you. All you got to do is just go out there and get it. And I know this stuff is technical. I know it's not easy to accomplish this level of proficiency. However, I'm here to tell you that with time, persistence, patience, the right amount of dedication, and the belief that you can do something like this, that's all it takes. Because a long time ago, in 2012, I had no idea how to create ambient music. I didn't know I was going to be Signs of Life. I didn't know I was going to be an Ascendant. I didn't know Synphaera was going to exist. I didn't know Synphaera was going to exist. None of it. It was all just out there in the ether. But I dedicated myself to the path. I didn't waver, even when it was difficult. I stuck with it, and now here I am on this platform. So if you want me to help you, let me know. Links down below in the description for not only my one-on-one coaching, but also my mentorship program. And yeah, this is where it gets real, guys. We're all being tested in some way, and I'm just here to help guide you. So thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. If you enjoyed this tutorial, let me know in the comments down below. I read all of your comments. I love hearing from you. And yeah, let's take one more look at our span. Oh yeah. We got there at the end. Anyway, I'll be back again soon with more videos like this one. Again, please check out my mentorship program if you really feel like this is your time. I can certainly help you get there. And yeah, wow. What a video. All right, take good care, you guys. Thanks again for watching. And as always, keep your heads in the clouds and your feet planted firmly on the ground. I am Chris from Signs of Life. I'll see you guys in the next video.